Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm just going to be talking about the biggest opportunities that I see in Titanx right now, without a doubt. Before I get into it, check out my project Phoenix, join the Telegram, check out the X page, and check out the stats for Phoenix as well. It's looking really, really good. So getting on to the actual point of this video, we're going to be talking about Matrix. And for anyone that doesn't know, Matrix is actually built on top of Hyper. So we're going to be covering the Hyper stats first, and then we're going to go diving into the Matrix stats as well. Obviously, nothing that I say in this video is financial advice. I'm just pointing out the data to you guys and translating how I see it. So starting off with Hyper, super strong protocol. We saw so many people make loads of gains during that first miner wave. Currently, it is not profitable to mine, which means there's no future inflation coming out for Hyper, which I'll show you here. After February 17th, there is 0 new tokens coming onto market. So then you say, okay, there needs to be buy pressure to push it up to make it profitable again. In the buy and burn, there is $2.2 million, which is priced in Titanx as well. So if Titanx does a 2x, this 2x's. Also, for people that don't know, Hyper is actually leveraging Titanx. So if Titanx does a 2x, Hyper, without any additional buy pressure, does a 2x by default. And then it has additional buy pressure from this buy and burn to push up that ratio even further. So Hyper alone right now, I see as a no-brainer play if you want to increase your Titanx bags. Matrix takes it that one step further because Matrix is built on top of Hyper and is leveraging the Hyper price appreciation, basically. So Matrix is only, I think, 44 days old. And I want to highlight the ratio of Matrix to Hyper right now. For me, this chart looks very bullish. And I think this is extremely undervalued. If we go to Matrix and take a look at the stats, the entire market cap is actually... Well, it says 1.2 million, but this is including the burnt Matrix. So it's actually below $1 million. It's about 950K right now, which in my opinion is so grossly undervalued compared to what this project has. So really small market cap built on top of Hyper. Hyper is going to be leveraging Titanx, and Titanx is going to be pushing Hyper, which is going to be pushing Matrix. If Hyper does a 2x, Matrix is going to do a 2x by default. And all it needs is a little bit of additional buy pressure to outperform Hyper. Obviously, there can be more sell pressure than buy pressure, which would push down that ratio. But I'm going to show you why I think the amount of buy pressure coming to Matrix is going to be insane. And it's programmed in to be insane. So first of all, we're just going to show you the buy and burn. There's a decent amount in the buy and burn still. 25K in Hyper, that's going to be buy Matrix. And then 100 billion Titanx that is going to buy Hyper before buy Matrix. But where we get onto the really interesting stuff is the stake. So for people that don't know, Matrix has a stake in Hyper. And at the moment, if we check out the stats, it's actually got 43% ownership. And if we go into the stake management, there is still 73 billion Titanx that's buying Hyper to be staked. And there's already 30 billion Hyper ready to be staked as well. So 43% ownership of the entire Hyper payout pool. And let's just take a look at the payouts. So coming up is the 369-day payout. And at the moment, it's $250,000 is going to be paid out. But this is priced in Hyper. And think about all the stats I just told you about how Hyper is entering this hyper deflation, literally hyper deflation with 2 million in the buy and burn with no more inflation coming out. If Hyper does a 2x, this payout pool 2x's. And Matrix at the moment is getting 43% of this entire payout. By the time that additional Titanx is buying Hyper and staking it, I think it's going to be over 50% ownership of this pool. So Matrix is going to be receiving this Hyper. It's going to be split between maintaining that stake and fueling the Matrix buy and burn. So Matrix is leveraging Hyper. Hyper is going to be being pushed up. And then to further increase the ratio that Matrix has against Hyper, is going to have a huge payout priced in Hyper that's going to go to further buy Matrix off market and push it up. These stats are just insane. And I'd like to point out as well, still 50% is unclaimed, which just shows, I think there's a lot of diamond hands in this protocol. Because when you entered the auctions, there was obviously the patient incentive pool rewards, and 50% of people still haven't claimed, which I think is a really good sign. 22% of the entire supply is burnt already. This protocol is screaming at me it's going to explode. I got into Dragon X at 1.1 million market cap. Matrix is screaming everything the same. Does the same mindset that I was thinking back then. This is 100% conviction I have in this play. I think this is a no-brainer. And I just wanted to bring it to you guys because I think this is a really good way to really leverage your Titanx bag and to increase the amount that you have. Obviously, people have their favorite projects, but I think this is a project that in the short term, the next 3-4 months, is going to be a no-brainer play to just have a little bit of ownership in this protocol to just see if it does do the numbers I think it will, to just see what happens. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or has different opinions, comment it down below. And thanks for listening, guys.